I can't remember the exact
Okay, we're
score.
officially recording.
I got a 23.
Good. I actually came prepared to teach. There's only a couple of questions that I didn't get to, but everything else I got to. Did you guys want me to share the screen again and then we get started?
Yeah.
Or did you guys not need me to share the screen?
I don't care either way. I mean, I have it pulled up.
I have it pulled up.
Yeah, I'm good. I've got mine out.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to find it, and it should be under due date number 1, right?
If you go to lesson 3 individual preparation,
yeah,
and you hit.
I'm like right on it.
It says prepare. It's at the bottom, and it has chapter 4 group quiz questions.
Okay. Yeah, I was there, but I just wasn't sure where to click. Okay, I got it. Okay, I'm fine either.
Okay. All right. So let's just. So we can just go through it. Where's my pen? Okay. 1. The force that makes market economics work are. I got C.
C.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. The highest form of competition is called. I have C.
Me too.
As well.
Yeah.
Okay. The demand for a good or service is determined by A, those who buy the good and services or service.
Those who buy. Well, was it those who buy and those who
sell? Yeah, buy and sell.
I thought it was buy and sell too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be that stone.
So you guys have D?
It is.
D.
Yeah.
Okay. Most studies indicate that tobacco and marijuana tend to be, and I put B, complements.
I figured they'd be A substitutes, but I didn't read the notes.
That's what I thought it was too.
I thought it said in the reading that they were substitutes.
Yeah, because one is substituting the other one.
Right, because didn't they say that when tobacco prices went up, people would go to marijuana as a substitute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
it would be A.
Okay. 5. If the law of demand applies to this good, then Q1 could be. I have 0. But wait, how did I get to 0?
I think it's 0 too. Because as the price goes up, the quantity demanded usually goes down.
Yeah, that's right. It is at A.
Okay. The movement from DA to DB could be caused by, and then I put D, an increase in the price of a complement.
So I thought it was B.
A decrease in income.
So did I. But I'm not sure.
So I looked back, and in the notes it said that demand of an inferior good is negatively related to income. An increase in income shifts the demand curve for inferior goods to the left. So
a decrease in income.
A decrease would go to the right, right?
Yeah.
Wait.
The reason of why is because even if the price of a complement increased, that doesn't necessarily mean that the quantity is going to increase as well.
Movement caused by. Hold on. That's supply. Okay. Demand.
And doesn't I thought a demand curve for a complement that stays the same and it's just the price that moves. Does it actually shift the demand curve?
It doesn't shift the whole curve, no. But the thing is, like when there's a decrease in income in the population, an inferior good is going to become higher in demand.
Mm-hmm.
So like assume that we're like talking about something like peanut butter. When people decrease in income, so when their income drops, they're going to be buying more peanut butter because they're not going to be buying like something more luxurious. They're going to be buying something more inferior.
Right. So I was just looking at the increase in the price for complement, but when your price adjusts, your demand curve doesn't. You're like on the graph, it's showing the whole demand curve. You know, like shifting to a brand new.
Increasing. So
and
like
let's says the price. So the price would not create a whole brand new one. It would stay on the same demand curve, so that D would be out. It wouldn't work. But B, yeah. Right? So what does everyone think it is? B?
No. Okay, think about it like this. If we're talking about like hot dogs versus hamburgers, right? And now the demand for hot dogs increases, which is the shift to the right. So more people want to buy hot dogs because an increase of a price in hamburgers, which is a complement. So the price for hamburgers changed. We're not talking about the demand for that change, just the price for hamburgers changed. That means more people are now going to switch to hot dogs, which makes the whole curve for hot dogs, which is what we're talking about, shift.
But hamburgers and hot dogs are not like, so like I see, maybe I'm just missing the, but what I'm saying is like it'd be something more like let's say
I guess
Top Ramen and
substitutes, not compliments.
It'd be from like hamburgers to Top Ramen. So like when people lose money and they're making less money in the population, then the inferior good is going to raise the quantity, which in turn is going to raise the price. So like if people lost income, more people would have a demand to buy ramen noodles. And so that inferior good would make the price rise because there's a higher demand.
And we can look at it just by what they're talking about as in price, A, C, and D. When it talks about price, it's moving on the same line, and this is the whole demand curve that's moving. And price cannot move the demand curve.
Yeah.
Okay, but inferior good, if the income decreases, the demand increases. So I guess B.
Decreased income.
Because on his video, the teacher was explaining how for an inferior good, when income decreases, the demand goes up.
Right. Perfect.
So I guess you're right, B.
Yeah.
Okay. 7. If the 4 families listed in the table are the only demanders of Mountain Dew in the market, which of the following is a correct graph of the demand?
I got A.
I got A.
It's not going to be A.
I have
A.
B.
So when you add up all of the amounts for like the price of $7, it equals 50. So to place that on the map, it's going to be $7 at 50 quantity. And then you add up the rest, so at $8, it's 40, $9, it's 30,
Let's see.
and $10, it's 20. So it has to be A.
Let's see.
Okay. C is
How did you get C?
Wait, explain that again.
So,
okay. So when you're like here, I don't know, can you guys see that?
That doesn't make sense to me though, because why is that graph not reaching quantity?
Okay, so you're going to do quantity up to the price. So you're just finding the coordinate. So you're finding $7, and then you're going over to 50 quantity.
Basically,
So
you add up everything, right?
Right. So
That's what I
I
said
don't
in
know
the
if you can
homework.
see. So you've got to add them all up. Sorry, this is terrible. Add them all up to get your prices, and then you have to plot them. And this is the only one that plots them in the right place.
That's
If that
weird
makes
that he
any
made it
sense.
that way, though, because that makes no sense as to why it would not. Because every graph I've ever seen with supply and demand reaches quantity.
Well, yeah, but you still have to have the right prices. I mean, it doesn't have to go. You can finish the quantity yourself.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. But it's just odd.
You know,
It's just odd that it's
I
written.
think that's why they did it, was just to screw you up. But there's no other way it would work, because you have to get your $7 at your, you know, all added up of 50.
quantity.
So $7 and your quantity of 50 has to go together. There's no other way to do it. And on the other ones,
Yeah, it's the
they
only
have
one
like,
that matches.
yeah, they have a price of $12. Well, there's not even $12 in there for a price, so that doesn't work at all. And that's the same thing with D. There's no price in there for D that goes up to $12. So you have to be able to plot those amounts, and none of them have that.
I see what you're saying.
Okay. And C doesn't go up to $10 at all, so.
I see what you're
So
saying.
What did everyone else get?
I got A also. Hunter, what did you get?
I'm good with A.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's just the same thing. In a homework, there was a problem just like this one.
Yeah.
And you had to add everything up, and because I got it wrong, so like I hit the right answer, and I find out that is the way that you had to do those curves.
Okay, so we're good with A?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. 8. When quantity demanded has increased at every price, it might be because I have D.
I got D also.
D.
Hold on, let me get there. That's D.
You got D or C?
Yeah.
D?
Is everyone good with D?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 9. The quantity supplied of a good is the amount that. Excuse me.
I got D again.
I wasn't really sure on this one, to be honest.
I was fluctuating between B and D. But I thought D sounded more.
I think you quantity supplied. I think you're right. I do think it's D.
So the reason why it is because so the whole line on the chart represents demand, represents supply, but a point on the graph would I cannot say that word tonight. What the heck?
Represent.
Would represent quantity supplied. Thank you.
Yeah.
So an individual point on the graph would represent quantity supplied, whereas the whole line itself represents supply. So it would be D.
Okay, cool. 10. Today's supply curve for iPods could shift in response to a change in, I have B, the expected future price of iPods.
I wasn't sure. Again, I was
wasn't
going
sure.
between B and D.
Well, I guess Let's see if all of them today's price.
So we could look at slide 50 on that PowerPoint, and it kind of talks about it.
I was on B. I was thinking on B. Sorry, this is number 9, right?
10.
10. Oh, I'm sorry. What was number 9?
We got D.
D. Okay. Oh, yeah, I was kind of lost.
So let's see here. It says that today's supply curve of iPods could shift in response to change in
Prices.
I think
there
it's
can
all
only
of the
be
above.
one. So on one of those slides, it says the change in supply can be a shift in the supply curve that occurs when a non-price determinant of supply changes, like technology. So that's not on there.
Right.
And then it says change in quantity supplied, a movement along a fixed supply curve occurs when price changes. So that could work, right, for all three of them? And then it says
what about the number of
It's
buyers?
not talking about quantity supplied. It's talking about the whole supply curve as a whole.
supply curve.
So it
iPod.
says that it has nothing to do with price, right? At the beginning of that sentence that you're in.
Yeah.
So the only one that doesn't
Change
mention price is C.
the number of buyers of an iPod.
Like, cause reread what you just read, Melissa.
Mm-hmm. Which part that says the movement along a fixed supply curve occurs when price changes?
Yeah. So if the movement only occurs across the line, but it doesn't shift the line as a whole, this is saying what shifts the line as a whole. So price would change it along the line, but it wouldn't change it completely shift the line.
Right. I have on the textbook, it says input prices shift the supply curve, technology shifts the supply curve, expectations shift the supply curve, and number of sellers shift the supply curve.
Well, expectations, it says the
Yeah.
expected future price.
Future price.
Maybe it is.
So it would
That's
have
why-
to be B. Mm-hmm.
D?
Yeah, I think
B is in boy, right? Is that what you said? Because that says the number of buyers of iPods, not suppliers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, buyers would affect demand. Well, actually, it would probably affect both eventually, but
I think it's B also.
So the only thing that can change supply is a shift, or is a non-price determinant.
Because the price of the good itself represents a movement along the supply curve. So
Gosh.
today's price of the iPods, that wouldn't shift it, right?
no, that would only change the.
So it couldn't be D. It would have
I
to be
think-
B.
How about C, the number of buyers? Because if there's no buyers, that demand won't be that high for supply, so they
It's not
won't
going to change
produce.
the supply. The supply is going to be 300 regardless of whether 300 people are buying it or not.
Right. I still think it's B, but
I agree.
B is in boy, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I'm going.
I
with
agree
B.
because today's price wouldn't affect the supply curve as a whole.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and the number of buyers would affect the demand, not necessarily the supply. So it's got to be B.
Okay. 11. So we have a diagram below pertaining to the demand for turkey in the United States. All else equals, a sale on chicken would cause a movement on. I did this one, but
I think it's A, but I'm not sure.
All equals.
So a sale on chicken is just decreasing the price.
Yeah, so it's Y to X.
I have D, Y to X.
That's what I got. Too.
D, because a sale isn't going to shift the whole demand curve.
But it's the supply for turkey, not chicken. Is that right? The demand for turkey, not chicken.
Oh,
Which is a substitute.
Sale on chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Good eye.
So that. No kidding. This is why I got. Okay. Yep.
The demand is not going to change. It's just going to be a change in that curve.
The demand would go down because the substitute, there would be a sell on it, so they would buy more.
You're right. It's A.
So it would be A.
You are eagle eye. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
I was all sold on chicken.
I know, right? I think they did that on purpose. Put it too close together. Turkey and chicken. Oh.
So does everyone understand why?
Yeah, I get it. It's a substitute, not a complement. Okay, 12. If these are the only 4 sellers in the market, then the market quantity supplied at a price of $10 is, I have 44. D.
D also.
Me too.
D.
Yep.
Okay. Rightward shift of the supply curve is called a
Increase in supply.
It's an increase in supply.
Yes, I think so.
Is it, or is it quantity supplied? D.
No, because quantity supplied is an increase in 1 point.
Right.
It's going along.
Oh.
Yeah, I have it here.
So if the curve as a whole is just referred to as supply, but 1
Yeah,
point on the curve is quantity supplied.
Okay.
Line above, yeah. Increase in supply. So A, right?
Yeah, it's A.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
14. Which supply schedules obey the law of supply? And then I have D for B's and D's only.
C.
Me
What I
too.
got too.
You said what?
D. D as in David.
Okay.
Okay. 15. The unique point at which the supply and demand curves intersect is called equilibrium. I have D.
Equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 16. At a price of 35, there would be a
I have B.
short plus of 200.
So
Actually,
that's my question. It is a surplus for sure, but then do you count from where equilibrium is?
Yes.
Or is
I
it
think
the
so.
whole between the 2 points?
I think
We usually count from equilibrium. So above is surplus and below it's as a shortage, right?
Right. So what I'm wondering though is, do you count from this point to that point, or is it from equilibrium over?
from equilibrium, because equilibrium is where it's perfect.
I know that part.
Right. So then, like, if you produce 100 and you sell at this value, anything above, it's going to be above from there, because there is like your new zero.
Is it 400?
So would it be C?
I think it is C. Because if
That's
you
what
go
I thought too.
right,
Okay.
And then in the books, it all talks about this in between those 2 points.
Wait.
I don't know.
No, what?
Wait.
Hold on.
wait, what's wrong, Melissa?
200.
What?
What's wrong?
Trying to figure out where you add it from. But you'd go from 600 to 200, right? So it'd be a surplus of 400?
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's what I got. I think it's C. Because if they were asking price, then it would be 25 to 35, so it'd be $10. But they're asking for units.
So wouldn't go from 400 to 600. That would be 200.
No, you would go from 200 to 600 because at $35, the demand curve starts at 200.
Oh, I see.
And then it closes at the supply curve closes at 600. So it's 400.
Oh, okay, I see. So we don't go from equilibrium to all the way. So we just start from 35.
You would only use equilibrium if you were trying to find the price difference between at the quantity. So if it said instead of at the price of 35, if it said at the quantity of 400, what is it? Then it would be a surplus of $10.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you guys are saying. Okay, that's fine. See. All right. Okay, 17. Which of the following movements would illustrate the effect in the market for fences of a decrease in the price of wood? So, which of the following movements would illustrate?
AB.
Fences. So the supply, you said AD?
B as in boy.
So would that affect the demand curve, or does it affect the supply curve?
Right. Okay. So
I think it would affect.
It will affect the quantity and also the price.
So it'll make the quantity actually go higher for fences because there's a decrease in the price of wood. So more people would be building fences if the price of wood dropped. So the market for fences would increase in supply and increase in demand as well, probably. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense.
No, the supply wouldn't change because there's still X amount of wood. The demand for it, because now more people can afford to build fences, I think would increase. I think the demand would increase.
So it'd be A to D, so it'd be D as in dog?
That's what I was leaning towards, but.
Because I think the supply, like you said, the supply would stay the same. But the demand would increase. And B to C is not an option, so it'd have to be A to D.
So D.
Yeah, because the price would raise.
Right. I don't think the supply would change.
Yeah, but the price would.
And the demand would.
And the demand would, right. That's what I meant.
Right.
And
right. I agree.
The quantity of fences built would too as well. So it would be D.
Okay.
Because C to D, it wouldn't do that. It wouldn't do C to B. It wouldn't do A to B either.
Okay. I agree. We're good?
Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay.
Turkey.
18. 18. The diagram below pertains to the demand for turkey in the United States. All else equal. Didn't we just do this one? Is it
different?
Similar?
Okay. All else equal, an increase in the productivity of turkey farmers would cause a move from.
It wouldn't change the demand.
No.
I got D. A lot of D's on this one.
Wait, you got D as in dog or B as in boy?
D as in dog. Because they're increasing the productivity.
So the quantity would go up.
So
quantity supplied.
Well, the quantity supplied goes up and the price goes down because now there's a whole bunch more on the market, right?
Yeah, you're right. This was way easier than last week.
I know. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. When you have a visual, it's easier than when you just have all wording.
Right. So, what's our final answer?
Dog.
D as in dog, right? Okay. Okie dokie. 19. Which of the four panels illustrate a decrease in quantity supplied? I kind of got lost in my brain on this one, so I have no idea.
I got D again.
So did I.
Decrease.
Because supply is going to go left because it's a decrease. And the only ones going left are B and D, but B is talking about demand going left. So it has to be D, right?
So it wouldn't be A because that quantity supply is in.
Right, it's going right.
And it wouldn't be
That,
B either.
actually, they're talking about supply. They're not even talking about
Actually, it could be.
They're talking about demand, not supply.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And B is talking about demand. The only ones that are talking about supply are C and D.
Wait, no. Wouldn't B be talking about supply as well? Because the quantity supplied isn't the quantity supplied. It says the decrease in quantity supplied, which is a point on the line, not the line in general.
Decrease in quantity supplied.
So you see how it everything's moving to the left and down, and so it's moving from, QE to QE apostrophe.
Which of the 4 panels is decrease in quantity
Because
supplied?
C and D, they're not switching quantity supplied. They're switching the whole curve of supply.
Supply curve.
I think it's B. Because A is an increase in quantity supplied. C is an increase in supply. D is a decrease in supply. And then B is a decrease in quantity supplied.
That's right. That goes back to what you said before about quantity supplied and supply.
Yeah, supply moves the line. Quantity supply moves along the line.
So I have a quick question, and probably the price, it has a PE and then it has PE apostrophe. And then the other one, it has PE apostrophe and then PE. So what does that apostrophe mean?
So the apostrophe is just the new price. It just means the new price after the shift.
Okay. So on D, if quantity decreases, prices go up, which is what usually is, right? But in B, the quantity decreases, but the price decreases as well.
Yeah, but so the demand is actually, the whole demand as a whole is actually decreasing in B. So like there's an old D, there's an old demand and a new demand in B.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shifts. So like that would be, let's see, what's an example of that? If a demand would shift, like if income dropped. Like if that was ramen noodles, say if we're looking at B and that's ramen noodles, if income rises, the demand for ramen noodles is going to drop like that. See what I'm saying? But so what we're looking at, we're not even looking at that right now though, because it's asking for quantity supplied, and so quantity supplied is just along the same line.
Yeah, it's a shifting down instead of shifting over and above of it.
Right.
Okay, got it. So
what did you get, Nicole?
I had D originally, but after Hunter explained it, B makes sense.
Okay, so we agree it's B.
Yep, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Which of these statements does not apply to market economics?
I got C. But I don't know if that's right.
No, actually, I think you're right.
C.
Because of the market economy, you're not gonna. It doesn't ensure that anyone gets what they want.
I agree.
That's pretty absurd.
I mean, you know, iPhones were still $700 when they came out, and they ran out of them.
Yeah, I would love to have a brand new Tesla, but I can't have one because I can't afford it. So.
It's true. Okay. Well, that's good. Yay for easier weeks.
Yeah.
Can we roll back through and make sure? Because I think I got lost in putting letters down sometimes.
Okay, sure.
I have a question. What do you guys have for 4, 5, 6, and 7? I think I got lost and I put a double.
Right. So, did you want me to just go over specific
Yeah.
questions, or to just go over from the top and just
go
say
over
what?
all
The
20. Just go all 20.
Okay. 1C,
Uh-huh.
2C, 3D, 4A, 5A, 6B,
B as in boy?
7B as in boy,
Okay.
7A, 8D as in David, 9 David, 10 boy, 11A, 12 David, 13A, 14 David, 15 David, 16C, 17 David, 18 David, 19 boy, 20C.
Okay. Thank you.
Got it. I was right. Just making sure.
Yeah, I had 3 wrong on that one because I misspell them.
Okay, so Karina, do you have the recording? You're the one doing it, right?
Yeah, so I will end it, and then I will send a link to everybody, and then I'll do a group post for us.
Good.
And then you guys want to meet at the same time next week, 8? Does that work better for everybody?
Yep.
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it works great for me and gives me some time to go over the book and the homework. But next time I'll go over the quiz first, go over the book and homework to see if I can get to the whole thing.
Okay. So I'll start the call again next week, because in that way I can invite everybody. You get the email, or I put the link over there, and then that way it's easier.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
See ya.
Bye.